Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VI. It might look like we're currently flying in aimless loops around the globe, but this is actually an efficient way of searching for a pain-in-the-ass boss who sadly has to be fought if I want to complete my Esper collection. There are 4,096 tiles that make up the world map. The boss that we're looking for, Doomgaze, occupies one of them at random, and that position changes every time you reload the world map, like when you reboard the ship. So the best method to find him is to face straight north when you board the ship, hit the gas, just nudge yourself about 1 pixel to the left or right, and hold forward from there. Over time, you will cover every tile that way. It can be slow, but it's at least reliable. As for this fight itself, you need 2 things. For nobody to have a level that's a multiple of 5, all my squad is between 37 and 39, and you also need extremely high burst damage. Fuck, I wish that was 2, or I wish there was 2 more. He starts the fight off with level 5 death, which is why you don't want any characters with a level that's a multiple of 5. After that, he will do some stuff that you honestly can't afford to worry about healing, and if you're prepared for him anyway, he shouldn't have time to kill you. Every 2 turns, he has a 2/3 chance to flee. This might hurt a little. Okay, that's nothing you have to worry about. This is why you need really high burst damage, and maybe a small amount of luck. He's got about 56,000 health. If you let him flee, not only do you have to find him again, you have to go through the same fight again. I'm pretty sure his HP heals every time he flees. It's really god-awful. Even worse is when you're just randomly traveling and you're beat up and you haven't healed from a dungeon and whoops, oh hey, there's Doomgaze! He's here to mess your day up. And the chances that you accidentally run into him when you're unprepared, I feel, correlates positively with the length of time between now and your last save, such that the longer you go without saving, the more likely he is to run into you and wipe you and undo hours of your progress. It sucks. I guess I should mention that he was also weak to fire and holy, and now he's fucking dead. Fuck that boss. Find him, go all out, receive Bahamut. So now that we've gotten Doomgaze out of the way forever, let's do something that's fun. Let's go do the Phoenix Cave. The Phoenix Cave is a legendary cavern, rumored to house an Esper who can return the dead to life. Back in the world of Balance, we had a party member who was very much invested in that idea. The Phoenix Cave is radical. It is a rad dungeon, because it's a bit of a puzzle zone. So you need to split up 2 teams. You have your A team, who's going to be doing most of your fighting, especially with the boss in here. And you have my B team. My B team is going to just be assisting the A team with moving forward. But they both have to move forward in tandem. They kind of leapfrog. I'll get to that in a sec. The B team has Mog in it, so none of the B team ever has to fight. You start the dungeon together. You start outside here, and the first room in the dungeon you'll be together, but eventually you'll have to separate. And the gimmick is that you swap the parties and you hit a bunch of pressure plates and switches with each party so that the other one can leapfrog forward. That's what I was talking about before. It's really cool. It's a cool dungeon concept. And it has a very good flow to it as well. You'll have one team making a move, they'll hit some kind of dead end, the next team will move forward and tackle a different part of the dungeon that lets the opposite team move forward, and they'll switch back and forth like that. We're gonna bring the B team up here, they step on the pressure plate that lowers the spikes, lets the A team safely across. There is another way for the A team to get up here, they fall through a pitfall on the floor near a chest. That's one of the few cases where you get the luxury of being able to move the A team without the assistance of the B team, but you need the B team to move on later anyway. I didn't mean to Firaga there. The two up top are going to absorb that. Being the Phoenix Caves, you can imagine that most of the enemies are going to absorb fire. Meant to Blizzog them. So the faces, they just do 1,000 needles, which has gotten a lot less intimidating on its own since the first time we saw it when we were barely pushing past 1,000 HP anyway. It's still a little problematic in combination with the other enemies. Namely the stupid necromancers, who just suck. Like every other enemy that shares that sprite. They use zombie, my least favorite status effect, and they can counterattack any damage that they take, even fatal blows, with Gravijo, which is the much stronger older brother of Demi. Removes 75% of your current HP. They use that as a counter to any damage. And, of course, there's more. They have 1,000 damage flare spells, too. So, Gravija's going all around in concert with the 1,000 needles and the flares and all the other stuff. That's where stuff becomes dangerous. This chest, like every other chest in the dungeon, save for just one, is completely empty. So we'll take the B team out here to the lava floor. Again, an empty chest. Wait, we need to do one more thing before we can move the rock wall. So we need to take this team to the far left. To, again, another empty chest. Wonder why they're all empty. Maybe we'll find out. That pressure plate raises up a bunch of stones. These stones act as platforms for the A-team. So once we get them down to the same floor, which will be really easy because we just take these stairs down, this provides a way to skip across the lava. Climenius? Or Climenus? Tricksters. Didn't recognize the names. Some of the names are a little bit wonky. So one thing I will say about the original Super Nintendo translation, they had the more catchy names. These ones generally aren't too bad, unless you're rocking Reflect or Reflect Rings, in which case they start bouncing spells off of you onto them. And doing a lot of gonzo stuff. Usually they just love casting Fyra and Fyraga at you. But pretty weak versions, to be honest. Chest is unimportant. This pressure plate, though, that's what we need. And again, having the Malulu charm on one of your teams eliminates half of the encounters. Anytime you're on the B team, you don't even have to worry about it. It's so nice. It's so convenient. And then if you really start to fall behind in levels, take a team with a growth egg out to the forest north of Narsh, or the Belt. Just grind out dinosaurs for like 5 minutes. I forgot these enemies were down here. What the hell did they even do? I'm guessing they might absorb Blizzard, and I'm worried they'll absorb Fire, so I guess Thunder's safe? That Gale Cut was really, really heavily damaging. Holy shit! Off of a Thundara. Single target, mind you, but Flash should clean them up. I don't remember these enemies being dangerous. There is one more dangerous enemy down here, though. There are also Chaos Dragons down here, which can cast death on you. I think is that a party-wide one? Or like a multi-target, at least? It's definitely not party-wide. Then they have another spell that sets a ton of different status ailments on the whole party. They are not fun to run into. Okay, so we already hit that one. This opens the stairways up on the left for the A-team. This lowers the spikes. We also have the save point below. This is why, because that little ridge separates us, but we need the B team up across the north face of the cave to get across the spikes. There's this whole lava room down here with a lot of skipping stones and a lot of chests that are purely red herrings right now. But there is a reason to bring the B team down here. Whoop, empty. Shocking. I'm still feeling this compulsive need to open up all the chests, though. It just feels good deep down in my soul. This is why we bring them down here. It's to, one, drain the water. And once the water is drained, it all, I guess, falls through the floor to the floor below, housing all the lava. That steam effect is nice, too. And it douses a lot of that lava on the floor. So we can head off of that plate. That's the worst thing about the necromancers in this dungeon is they just bang you up and force you to use resources. Like, if your damage output's high enough, you don't have to worry about them too much. Forgot which way I was going for a sec. It's actually not that hard to find your way around this dungeon. Okay, so there's the boss down there. As you could see for a second, it's one of the legendary dragons. That one is the red dragon. So that plate is important to hit. This maze switches back to something that the A team can cross once you get off the plate. And the B team made another path on the left side of the dungeon. Yeah, joke's on you, game. I'm a lunatic and I bought a million holy waters. And Setzer has a bunch of MP and nothing to do with it, so he's on Cura duty. Take that. And down into the depths we go once more. The floor is no longer hot lava, so we can loop right back up and down again. Now with those two stepping stones, we can reunite the two parties, hey! So now you bring the A team down, now that you have the parties reunited, and they can safely fight the red dragon. Now to get ready, just get a bunch of elemental gear on. Fire resistance is obviously going to be your friend. Edgar's going to be up in the air a lot, so he'll be safe enough. Terra's morph mitigates a lot of damage, so it's just the other two that you kind of have to worry about a little bit. Don't forget that even if you don't have flame shields, there are some other elemental shields that still mitigate some damage from elements. Like the Thunder Shield will still cut down a lot of fire damage you receive. The Force Shield is a good one. I think the Aegis Shield is... Is the Aegis Shield good for elemental resists? I don't know. I can't remember. Oh, does one of the B team have my Thunder Shield? Probably. Take 5 more steps, run into another random battle right before the boss. I don't know if I ever explained this, but I like to fast forward while I'm doing the menu management stuff, because I like to really pause and take it very slowly. Something therapeutic about that to me. And I don't want to waste too much of your time while I'm just looking at numbers and comparing and doing some tedious menu management. If it's quick, then there's no sense breaking my train of thought to speed the video up. But if you were ever wondering why I do things that way, that's why. And he's gone. So every 40 seconds, if he lives that long, he tries to use one of his stronger abilities, which will generally be fire-based, but not always. One of the attack skills with your level, and he has a level 4 flare, which is the non-elemental one. It also pierces defenses, and it only hits people whose levels are a multiple of 4. And up here, the only chest that has something in it has another dragon horn, which is useful because Mog can use that. Aside from that, the dragon casts a lot of fires, and fireballs. You can also cast Rasp on him if you want to be really mean because he has so little MP, and he requires MP to cast all of his spells. And even though it was the first big, full-size looking dragon we ran into, the other ones looked a little bit puny. He's not hard. He doesn't have a lot of HP, especially relative to the amount of damage we can put out now. between Edgar and his jump setup, Setzer with a gill toss, since I have that relic on him now, and then especially like morphed Blizzagas and Phantom Rushes. Whew, go to town on bosses. So with both of them stepping on the pressure plate, that opens one last really cool thing up down here in the lava room. It opens up a bridge to that central chest where we find our good old friend Locke. Took a while for us to get here, but we finally found him. He found the Phoenix Esper in here. So remember, he wanted to find some way of helping out Rachel back in Collingen. He was the one I was talking about back in the World of Balance. Remember, we brought him down to the basement with the dead girl on the bed, surrounded by a bunch of bouquets of flowers. This was his primary purpose, was to find that Phoenix Esper. That's what gave him his motivation. So after you do that, they're kind enough to teleport you out of the dungeon, skip all of the travel going back to the town, and we get a nice tender scene with Locke and Rachel. Someone obviously very, very important to him. They did note that the magicite for the Phoenix Esper that Locke found was badly cracked, and they'll bring it up again because it doesn't seem to be working. But it's doing something. It is reacting. That's a cool, unique effect. Oh man, if we did all that work, went through that whole dungeon just to not get an Esper because the magicite cracked. Oh, it worked. She's back from the dead. Apparently. Dude, that looks so cool, that little overlay of the Phoenix. Oh, so it only worked to revive her a little. It bought her a chance to say goodbye. With you, I was so happy. While I was dying, I thought only of you. And about the joy you brought me. Thank you, Locke. I'll never forget you. I have to go now. I'll always love you. You must now cast off the anguish you've been harboring inside for so long. Today, I set your heart free. You must learn to love anew to whomever your heart desires. Convenient. Phoenix, be reborn again and give your revival power to Locke. Convenient, since they've kind of set up another love interest for Locke. But this bittersweet scene gives to Locke what so many characters are seeking in their side quests. Closure. Closure is a big thing in this game. Most characters are seeking it in some form or another. Even if the endings to their side stories are bittersweet like Locke's, as they often are, they still get to move on at the end of them. And there, at the top of the steps to come for Locke, is Celeste. Celeste and Locke's friendship is such an important and strong backbone, an emotional backbone to this game. Rachel, put my heart at ease. From here on out, I'll be alright. Let's go, we have work to do. Locke is back with us! Hell yeah! And there's one more thing Locke has to go get before we go back to the Falcon. So we'll wait outside a second. Remember all those empty chests in the Phoenix Cavern? Well, our treasure hunter was busy picking the bones of that place. That's all the treasure that would have been in the chests. That's why they're all empty. Hey, cool stuff. Oh man, I like that side quest. It's probably one of my favorite side quests in the whole game. Certainly a lot more fun than the hunt for Doomgaze. Now we've got to sail off to correct something real quick. It took me a long time to remember this step, and it started bugging me a while ago. You may have noticed Shadow hasn't been selectable to form a party with, even though we rescued him from the floating continent in the World of Balance, and we brought him back to Thamasa to heal his wounds in the World of Ruin. I forgot there's an additional step. We have to pay a visit here to the Dragon's Neck Coliseum after finding him in the cave on the Veldt, and we have to bet the Ichigeki sword. We will fight a really weak version of Shadow's AI, and he joins you as a full party member right after you beat him. Unless Celeste just feels like spamming Runic until Shadow wears me down with 11 damage hits, one at a time. Nope, one Thundara, it's over. And we still get to keep our Ichigeki, we bet. The only thing I know how to do is fight. But now, well, we're offering for him to come with us, so yeah. Not a lot to that. Even though it's a lot of steps, one of which I completely forgot about for a long time. And hey, what's up, Ultros? Why are you here? He's still hanging out with Typhon, too. Cool, since we're cleaning up, let's do two more quick things. First, we're gonna fly down to that elbow joint on the southwest continent. That is where the Opera House is, remember? Since the world fell apart, a legendary dragon has taken up residence in the Opera House, on the stage no less. The Impresario is stressed out about that. And because we're going after all the legendary dragons, this pit stop makes a lot of sense to us. Oh, and Terra's even referencing the dialogue from General Leo. She's finally starting to get what he told her back on with the ferry to the Triangle Island? Yeah, we'll take some oddballs along to fight this one. This is not a hard fight, and there's not a lot to do leading up to him either. This one's weak as shit. The Earth Dragon is the one who's taken up residence in the Opera House. And it's called an Earth Dragon, even though you're going to see it has the sprite in one of the Tyrannosaurus enemies. While I make my way there, I have two corrections from the last episode. One, figured out why Valley only took like 15 damage from Edgar's jumps. Jump is, in fact, physical damage, but it does not pierce defense. Valley is super high defense. The drill also does physical damage, but the drill ignores defense. That's one of its properties, which explains what happened. Each of these switches does a different thing. Oh shit, that's the wrong one. One of them turns the lights out in the crowd. The other one makes a dog barking noise. This one drops you into the fight. Doesn't matter. It's actually not too worrying. Oh, the other correction before I forget. I was totally thinking of Kane Highwind when I said the Dragoon Boots turn Edgar into a Dragoon like Cecil. Cecil was the Dark Knight of the game. Kane is the Dragoon. Whoops. So this dragon, man, he didn't even start off with a strong attack. I never got a chance to buff float. That's the only chance it was gonna have to do anything effective anyway. Holy shit. What a loser. This one can do multiple party-wide Earth Elemental moves, and I think Landslide is one, and the other one is Quake, which is a standard spell. And he can pull off some really strong physical hits. That should be the end. No. Maybe 1 or 2 little hits. However, you can entirely negate the earth spells with float. And you can buff yourself with float before the battle, and it will carry over into the battle. I just made a mistake hitting the switches. Not that it mattered. Weak dragon. Weak. And eventually, after a few of his spells fail to hit you, he'll do something like remove your float status with a different party-wide spell. But he doesn't have much HP, so the fight wouldn't have lasted very long anyway. Not long enough for him to be lethal, at least. Last but not least, we are going to take a bare-bones little party of just Mog and Locke. Mog because he's got the Encounter None charm, and Locke because, remember when we visited Narsh, we ran into the wolf pickpocket guy? He told us, man, if only there was a treasure hunter who could open up some of these locked doors. Well, now we have a treasure hunter. We need his treasure hunting skills to pick the locks in the town. In Narsh, there are 2 houses of note. Most of them net you nothing, like the inn here was locked, but there's no reason to actually come inside, other than to just reinforce how desolate the town has become. Instead, you want to go to the weapon shop. That's 1. We'll open that one up, and in the basement of the weapon shop, the blacksmith is hanging out. Now, the blacksmith has been waiting for any signs of the returners to return. Now that we're here in the world of Ruin, he offers up the magicite containing the esper Ragnarok. Really good one. Alternatively, you can get a really good sword out of that magicite. Since I'm in the business of collecting every esper, though, we're gonna go with that. Plus, Ragnarok can teach you the Ultima spell. Next is just outside and to the left and up the stairs. It's to the northeast of the relic shop. We'll open that one up again and again head out into the basement. No elixir in the clock. I think we already nicked the elixir in this town. This sick old man gives you the cursed shield. Not only is this the worst shield in the game, but it's one that actively drags you down in combat. But like he hinted at, if you can figure out how to uncurse the shield, it becomes the best shield in the entire game, bar none. It becomes the paladin shield. To uncurse it, you have to win 256 battles with the shield equipped. I think it can only be equipped on certain characters. There's 1 or 2 that will not contribute to uncursing it. Shadow might be one of them. I can't remember, to be honest. Not that it's very important, to be honest. There's one more thing I should show you now. It's here back in the caves of Narsh. In the beginning of the game, I avoided opening a couple of chests here and there, and I told you that there would be a good reason that would pay off down the line. And then last episode, I opened some of those. When you revisit certain chests in the world of Ruin, like the ones here in the caves of Narsh, the equipment inside changes. Usually to stuff that's much, much better. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take it easy. Have a good one.